So here we are at Reform headquarters. We have an amazing guest, Laila Cunningham, and Aaron, who is the chair of North Cornwall, and myself as the vice chair. And the one thing I wanted to start with saying is that the three of us have one thing in common. We were all Conservatives, probably all our working lives or all our time voting. I know why I left the Conservatives, but what was your feeling?
I grew up a Conservative. Arthur Scargill was the baddie in my bedtime stories. Under the Conservatives, my parents bought a home. But for me, the Conservatives, and why I was a Conservative, was they were the party of low taxation. And when I left, they had the highest tax burden since World War II. They were the party of law and order. When I left, crime was rampant. They cut major magistrates' courts, which is where all criminal proceedings starts. They cut visible policing across the country. They basically deprioritised law and order. They were also the party of home ownership. They would look voters in the eye and say, we want you to own your home, but they wouldn't build any homes. More importantly, it actually really came down to the grooming gangs is when it really sealed the deal for me. The rape gangs, should I call them, because in January, when it came back to the political agenda, and they were calling for a national debate or a national investigation, and I thought to myself, they never held one themselves. This all happened under their watch. And that level of hypocrisy and the sheer betrayal of our girls, I wanted nothing to do with it. So all these things culminated, and to be honest, Neil, I'm sure the same with you, it kind of started in lockdown.
Yeah.
I was like, how dare this government reach so deep into my life? And in the end, I learned that there was no scientific reason to do it. My sister died as a result of COVID restrictions, not during COVID. And we couldn't see her in hospital.
But I didn't know.
Yeah. And so I don't lay blame on Boris for having a cake. No, but I do lay blame for restricting us to 6 people when now I know it was an arbitrary number picked from a hat. And I thought I never want to be subjected to government interference in that way. And in Reform, I saw a party that fights that speaks for those that have been ignored and those that want to fight the Whitehall overreach into our lives.
I agree. I mean, personally for me, I think the simplest way to describe it was that I don't think I left the Conservatives. I think the Conservatives left me. And I think I'd grown up all along believing the Conservatives were the party that believed in growth, believed in the British people, believed in all those things that I thought were fundamental to my views. And I just thought, Nigel Farage is talking sense. And everything he says, I kind of think, this makes sense to me. This is what I believe.
That's how I felt every time, I don't know, Reform would tweet something or post something. I'd want to like it because I'm like, yes, hell yes.
But common sense kicking in.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh my God, that's exactly how I feel. But I couldn't because I was part of the Conservatives. And I've said this many times before, when you're a councillor or you're a campaigner, you have to knock on doors. And I used to dread.
I had the same thing when I was Conservative.
Yeah.
I stood, I was only 18 at the time, I was the youngest Tory candidate, definitely in the southwest and the whole country in 2021. For Pound Stock War, I stood again as Reform, just gone. Knocked on doors, believed in the whole Boris vibe when he was at his prime. Had our old Tory MP come out with me, played the thing, wasn't successful, but we won a majority in the council. We had 6 MPs in Cornwall, and they all let us down one by one.
Yeah.
I think, as Neil said, they left us.
Exactly. So people would vote. We would vote for one thing.
Yeah.
We'd get the total opposite.
Exactly.
That's what I was like. Well, I didn't vote for this, and they forgot that actually they served the public.
The most amazing campaigning thing we've seen in the last 3 or 4 days was the Labour Party conference,
Yes.
where every single minister did such a great job for Reform. They were incredible.
Yeah.
And as with the Lib Dems before that, with Ed Davey coming out with, frankly, we talk about what David Lammy said is vile, which it was. What Ed Davey said was even
disgusting.
more about school shootings.
Disgusting.
Vile. And we've got it in our own area where we've got 2 Lib Dem MPs in Cornwall that's sticking up for that and happy to toe that line.
Yesterday, Labour said that our indefinite leave to remain policy is racist.
Yeah.
Right.
Which of course it's not.
Of course it's not. We don't care. What if they're all white? Is it still racist? We're not saying it depends where you're from or what race you are. We're saying that you have to fit a certain completely basic criteria to remain in this country. And by the way, her policy is not much different. So she said that she's going to move the indefinite leave to remain goalpost. So instead of being able to get it at 5 years, if you don't meet certain criteria, the same as ours, except she's added community participation, which for me means government discretion.
Yeah.
then it goes back to 10 years. And what if they don't meet it after 10 years? Is she going to kick them out? Is that cruel? Is that racist? Is she going to break families up? That's the policy gap.
Surely the whole point about migration and people coming here is you want people that want to come here, they want to obey our rules, our laws, they want to be British, they want to embrace our culture, and they want to live here and be part of it. And that's kind of what we're saying. It doesn't really matter where you come from. And, you know, I, generations back, are from an immigrant family.
Me as well, yeah.
And my family integrate, we're very proudly British, you're very proudly British, your parents. It's all about wanting to be here and wanting to be part of this amazing country.
Yeah, I mean, my parents came here to assimilate. They came here for Britain. They didn't, and they picked Britain specifically. But Shabana Mahmood also said that that Muslim hatred is off the charts. Listen, I'm Muslim, I know Muslim people, my family's Muslim, and we don't feel it because we love Britain and we are British and we want to embrace British values. But I understand that there are some, I see it, there are some Muslim communities who come here, who don't want to assimilate, who don't want to embrace British values, who want Britain to change for them.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, they call us racist. And that makes people angry, and rightly so. Who doesn't want to protect their values and culture? Any country would, and it's not racism to say that, it's just patriotism. And
by the same token, the people you're talking about, they could be Muslim, they could be from anywhere else. If they don't want to assimilate,
exactly.
Part of it.
Exactly.
It's what's wrong.
It's not. Yes, you're completely right. It's not about the religion. It's about the integration.
You know,
if you come here and don't integrate.
We've even seen that from the Eastern European countries when they first entered the EU back in the early 2000s. Places, especially southeast of England.
Exactly.
Whole areas were, excuse the term, ghettoised.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the things and one of the reasons I wanted to meet you and talk to you was that I'd seen you on television talking about it doesn't matter who you pray to.
Yes.
It's about being British.
Yes.
And I think at that point, my wife and I both looked at each other and went, yes. And it was, and that's kind of because I believe in that passionately.
Yes.
I believe we can all have umpteen different beliefs and religions or no religion.
Yeah.
But we believe in Britain and we believe in the values here.
Yes.
And we obey the law and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
We want to be part of this country. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, I mean, what other country could my parents come here in the 60s and find their daughter, you know, giving a speech next to the future Prime Minister of England? You know,
that is a success story which should be celebrated.
Success story. You know, that is a huge success story, and that's the opportunity the country gives you if you embrace it.
Yes.
But if you're always fighting the country and fighting what the country represents, then you won't be embraced and you won't be a success. You will be a burden socially and I fear financially, and that's the problem. You know, I was really offended actually when they said we are racist.
Oh no, that's appalling.
I went to a branch meeting as part of the role, the new role we've taken on. I've been going to all the branch meetings in Cornwall, like 6 branches. I went to one of St Ives 2 weeks ago, and there was a guy there. You were actually mentioned by name.
Oh, was I?
You were in a good way. And one of the members there said he was getting sick to death of Andrew George, who's a Liberal Democrat MP for St Ives, calling Reform fascists and racists, and the wider Uni Party saying that. He said, I'm going to sue them.
But also it endangers us. Right?
It does.
So you've seen it anyway. So if I'm just watching that and I hear the Prime Minister say they're racist and they're a danger to this country and we must battle them, I'd be like, oh my God, I must save my country.
Exactly.
You know, that these,
it's call to arms.
You'd be like, oh my God, this is a national security. These people are going to destroy my country.
And they have accused Elon Musk of that.
Exactly. And
very recently.
Exactly. And for me, it's the same kind of speech.
Yes.
It puts a target on all of that. Unnecessarily. Debate us on the policy. Debate us on what we want to bring to the country.
Mm-hmm.
But to shut down debate, that's all he said actually.
Yeah.
All they did was smear us, right?
Yeah.
Insult us.
There were no policies. There was nothing. They didn't bring anything to the table.
It was
about what they're offering.
It was propaganda.
It was just let's go on here and let's slag off the reform policy.
Exactly. Where's Streeter had the audacity to say that we're going to privatise the NHS? What did he say?
Where did
Oh,
that
he's
come
going to check your credit card before he checks your pulse. They're lies. And he says, you know, Farage is a con and Nigel Farage is a con and a snake artist. Farage got it right on Brexit, on immigration,
Small boats.
Years
ago.
And he's speaking for everyone that's been ignored by Whitehall. He didn't get it wrong at all. And the con actually is calling us racist and bringing out the exact same policy as us.
The thing that I think is really annoying when they're talking about Brexit and they're talking about Nigel is that Nigel delivered Brexit. Boris then, as the Prime Minister, was supposed to run with it, and he didn't.
Even so, I voted for Brexit, number one, for immigration, controlled immigration.
Yeah.
But also as a lawyer, you know, I was sick and tired of the ECHR allowing. Remember Abu Hamza, that hook?
Hamza, yeah.
Yeah. for allowing him to stay, and it cost us 2 million to appeal. I was like, who the hell does this court think it is, telling us who we can keep and who we can't keep? And also for deregulation, I wanted to blow all the regulation up. What was it, bonfire of regulations? And Kemi failed. That was her job, right? She only deregulated 400 of them out of thousands.
Yeah.
I think we're even more overregulated.
But look, let me ask you a couple of other things. Take
Sure.
on a slightly different tack.
Of course.
I was going to ask you about London.
Yeah.
And ask you about the amazing footage that we saw of you and Sadiq,
Yeah.
which is just absolutely
It was,
brilliant.
yeah.
Made a friend there.
I got like 6 million views, and I couldn't believe it. I get stopped by people going, are you that person in the video?
Mr. Khan, I'm a Westminster City Councillor. I just wanted to ask you on your thoughts on knife crime going up by 60% in the past 2 years. No, this is the Met thing. Knife crime, 60% up, and you don't care. Nothing to say? Nothing to say? Nothing to say about knife crime going up? He's being rude as we go inside. So I asked him, he wouldn't speak to me about a 60% increase in knife crime in our city in 2 years. 81,000 phones stolen. He wouldn't talk to me. He looked down on me. He wouldn't even bother answering. So I asked him, will he accept the challenge to debate Nigel on London's abysmal crime rate? Let's see.
Cornwall is very beautiful.
Yeah.
And there are some amazing
It is.
places. The beaches are stunning. The restaurants are fantastic.
Yeah.
And you have to come down.
No, I do.
It's only 4 hours.
Is it only 4?
4 hours.
Is it four?
Paddington to
Oh, I live by Paddington.
so there you go.
Then you can pick me up.
Laila, fantastic.
Thank you so much.